chapter 21, the holy joke, the holy slap, and the holy lessons. It's interesting because there's similarities between chapter 19 and chapter 21 in that you took a lot of the blame for situations. Chapter 19, the entanglement conversation.
Yeah.
Because when you watch that clip online at the red table, Will looks tired and he looks sad and he says that thing. He says, "I'm going to get you back."
Yeah.
It made it look like you had cheated on him or something.
Right.
I had to like check the facts because if you see that clip in isolation, it looks like you cheated on Will or something, which is not what happened.
Yeah.
But you put that out anyway.
I did.
You could have not put that out.
I know.
Do you regret putting that out?
No.
You don't?
I don't. If I didn't put that out, I wouldn't have seen that next place of healing that I needed. Because I can take so much like discomfort. It wasn't until I saw how the people around me were affected. I mean, my mother, my kids, my friends, people, like, they were like, "How could you do this?" And I was like, well, I just wanted to end everything, you know. Will wasn't ready for the world to know that we weren't together and that we were living separate lives. And I just took it because I just wanted to stop. I just wanted to end. People were like, "No." My mother was like, "What are you?" She was like, "You need to get your ass in therapy." She was like, "You are codependent as hell," you know? And everybody was just so, and then how people that love me so much were affected by that time. I don't think it would have penetrated and for me to really look at that part of myself if it hadn't been for how the people around me reacted. Because I don't really care about public in that way like most people do. I don't, whatever, because I understand the chaos and the just absurdity of all of that. But people who love me, I needed that mirror to see that place of healing that needed to happen in me and the dynamic within myself.
What was that dynamic within yourself?
Just like martyrdom.
Oh, okay, throwing yourself under the...
Yeah, that martyrdom that I will...
Martyrdom, the holy slap.
Yeah.
You write about in the book how you didn't realize that Will had actually slapped Chris.
Yeah.
Until much later. You suspected maybe it was a skit or a joke.
I thought it was a skit, and then I realized it wasn't, but I didn't think that he actually made contact with Chris. Looked like he ducked it.
Social media grabbed onto this eye roll. Mm-hmm. And they, social media believed that that eye roll was some kind of like, go get him, Will.
Yeah. And even if it was like, I can't force Will to do anything. You know?
You and Will weren't together.
We weren't together as, you know, we were family. I was there with him as family, but we weren't together at that time.
Were you surprised by the reaction and to that moment, both for you, but also for Will?
Yes and no. I was surprised at how much. I knew I was going to get blamed, but like, I didn't think that it was going to be, I mean, it was insane, you know? It was like, wow. But I knew I knew it was going to be a storm.
In the book, you say protection is your love language. Mm-hmm. He protected you, didn't he? Did you see that as a act of love?
You know, it's a really complicated moment. It's a really complex moment. I would say yes and no in a certain manner, you know? But I definitely think in his way. But it was so much more. It wasn't about me. That's why it's complex, right? Mm-hmm. It's like it was about a lot more than just that moment. A lot more than just me. Mm-hmm. That's what I know. You know what I mean?
Because you know Will and you know where he's come from. And...
Yeah, and I there was a lot that was stirring up for him at that time because of emancipation. And he and Chris have their own history.
Going back to the 80s.
Yeah, going back to the 80s. And it's a deep one.
You talk of this loss of identity when you married Will. And this is a quote I wrote down. It feels like I can't grasp my own journey. At times I feel resentful and angry. I don't know what to do about it. You and Will had these two sort of different visions for happiness in your lives together. His being that he wanted to take over the world as a global, movie star, all the things that he is. And within there, you start to lose yourself a little bit, it seems. This word resentful.
Yeah.
Very interesting word.
Yeah.
Can you give color to that word? Why you chose to use that word?
Because it's true. It was like I felt as though at that time, all right, if I want to help you do all of those things. I'm here to help you with that, right? And I'm like, and in return, I should get a bit of what I want, which is connection, right? And so for me, just giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and forgetting, well, not even forgetting, not realizing that I was abandoning myself in the hopes that if I just keep pouring into this, if I just keep pouring into him, if I keep pouring into his dream, I'm going to eventually get what I want, right? And that's a false idea in so many ways, right? And so many of us do that. If Will looked back and was trying to give me whatever the hell it was I was asking for, he wouldn't have been able to accomplish it anyway. Because if I'm not connected to myself, if I don't have a good relationship with me, there's nothing he can do. So I was going to be asked out anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's part of the journey. There's no right or wrong. Everybody's always trying to find the good guy or bad guy in people's stories. There's no good guys or bad guys. We're all wounded trying to figure this shit out. And so it took me a long time to realize it is not his responsibility to make you happy. He can't. It's impossible. But it took me forever. Hard-headed, stubborn, because that romantic idea. And that's why I talk about checking the boxes. It's like, I did everything I was supposed to do. You get to have your dream. How come I'm not having mine? And that's because Will was doing what he wanted to do.
He was making himself happy.
He was making himself happy.
And he says that to you, doesn't he? He says, when you separate, he says he wants you to go and...
He's like, go.
Go make yourself happy?
Go make yourself happy.
And how did you receive that?
Not well. Not well, because, there can be truth, but you know what I'm saying? It's like how we, I think it was very true, but I think at that particular point in time, I was just still really resentful. I'm just like, oh, so I helped you get your happiness, and now you just going, throw me to the curb, and, I got to do it all on my own now, But that's the truth. I had to do it on my own, just like he did. You got to do it on your own. You got to do it on your own. You got to do it on your own. And a lot of that's what this is about, and me detoxing from needing fulfillment and validation outside of myself. Detoxing from needing it from Will, my marriage, my family, a career. Like, I had to get to the bare bones of Jada and walk what I call the exiled lands. And those exiled lands are going into the crevices of, those places within that were holding me back from myself. All the fears, all of the false information and false ideas of what life is and what a marriage is supposed to be, and, you know, who I was supposed to be, what a wife is, like all of it. Perfectionism. And then I just went off to be completely imperfect and took joy in that.
Because being in Hollywood, I mean, this is a place that values the appearance of perfectionism. Like everything looks perfect on the surface.
Yeah. And I think it's not a healthy idea. It's just not healthy. And it's not true. And nobody can live up to that, you know, which is why I've been dismantling that need to be perfect for myself. And that's been a painful ride, but
I found it so interesting hearing you describe the relationship that both you and Will had as it relates to conflict resolution.
uh-huh.
I find it so interesting because I've come to learn over the last couple of years that the way we deal with conflict predicts the long-term health of our relationships.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I think there's this professor, I think it's called Professor John Gottman, who studied couples and tried to figure out why they end up in divorce. And he says the number one reason is because they build contempt. And that's all about conflict resolution, how you're dealing with your bullshit.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, you remind me of my partner because she wants connection, she wants to talk, she wants to resolve things. She's, you know, she wants to deal with the emotions. I would like to not.
Right.
I will buy you something to make sure that you're safe.
Right.
I'll pay for your stuff.
Right.
But I just want to work.
Yeah.
And that's the way you describe Will. And so I resonated with Will in that. But
yeah.
you sharing how you felt throughout that story helped me to understand my partner. Beautiful. And all the conversations she's had with me about what she actually wants from me.
Yeah.
And me misunderstanding her because we have different love languages.
Yeah.
And your love language starts when you're a kid, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And Will's does too.
Absolutely.
What was that conflict of your love languages?
Will's, you know, was very much like yours. It's like, I want to work. I'm going to work hard so that you can have everything in the world that you'd ever want. You know, you're not going to need for anything. Right. And my love language was like, but I just want you to be here with me. I don't need all of that stuff. I want to look in your eyes and, you know, feel your love and feel your protection here with me. And, you know, it was like that connection. I wanted to feel like I wanted to make a masterpiece out of our connection, you know, and he wanted to make a masterpiece out of, you know, the life itself. Right. And neither is wrong. Neither is wrong. And that's what I had to learn. That's where we've come to now and understanding. Neither one of those wants are wrong. So how do you balance them? Because it can't be one or the other. How do we balance it? Like yin and yang. Everything about life is balance. So I just want you to know that with you and your partner.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I just want you to know that because in as couples, we get into these power struggles. No, my way is right. No, my way is right. Well, if you didn't have this, it gets into all of that. Right? And it's like, stop. It's not about anybody being right or wrong. How do you get the balance of it? That's it. Right? And so, you know, it took Will and I 3 decades.
Jesus Christ. I haven't got that kind of time.
Yeah, 3 decades, okay? 3 decades. That's what will get to that, will get you. It doesn't have to be that, you know? It's like, do it now.
Because that's what I've said to my girlfriend is I've told her that I've got this opportunity now because things are going well in my career. So I just want to focus for now. And then we're going to have all of our lives together. I actually said that to her one day and she reminded me of it a week later when we were arguing.
Yeah.
I was like, we're going to have all of our lives together. So like, we'll connect later.
Yeah, we'll connect later. It's like, what? What kind of foolishness is that? You know what I mean? And I'm going to tell you like this. I bet you when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to think about whatever it is you're trying to accomplish and achieve. What do you think you're going to think about most when you're on your deathbed? How you were loved and how you loved, no?
100%.
Okay.
And even as I said it, I thought about Tupac and how you never know how long you've got left with someone.
You don't know. Why would you ever want to wait and put that off?
It's an excuse though, isn't it?
It is an excuse.
To
for
justify
sure.
my own toxic workaholism.
Well, you know, I wouldn't call it toxic. I'm always careful with this word toxic that we're throwing around, right? Because we're all so wounded.
Exactly.
And it's not, listen, when intimacy makes us have to look at our shit, right? It's easy to go, I pissed you off. I got you this diamond ring. I got you this, you know, beautiful bag. I'm going to take you on this trip. It's like, right? But like real emotional intimacy, we gotta deal with our stuff. A lot of stuff comes up there. But that's where connection and love and true happiness, true fulfillment is what's going on in our inner landscape.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.